Let's move on to 3A sectional action. And this is an interesting matchup, not only because they played in the regular season and it was a 3-point game in the regular season, but because I didn't know if we'd see Bishop Luers here when the playoffs started. And yet, here they are. They've won 26 games in a row in the playoffs as a program. Of course, most of that was done in 2A. And if they win against Concordia on Friday night, they would set the state record with 27 consecutive playoff victories.
And if they win against Concordia, my email, cell phone, and Twitter feed will be flooded with Knight fans who are in deep support of the Knights. I am absolutely hearing from the Knight fans, and it's great. That's awesome. Congratulations to the Knights, players, coaches, their whole Knight Nation, because they could have folded the tent at the end of this regular season. So let's move on to basketball. But they didn't. They kept working. They kept plugging away, and they've made it a new season. And you're right. They haven't lost since 2008 in the postseason. But who would have ever thought we'd be talking about Concordia Luers in the playoffs? And by the way, Concordia is the heavy favorite. But that's the case. I can't fathom a scenario where Luers finds a way with their struggling offense, even though they played well last week, to score enough points to hang with Concordia. Concordia, as I mentioned earlier, they can run the ball. John Poor is a great running back, and David Morrison's throwing the ball really well. Jake Minnick catches the ball really well. An offensive line that had a bunch of young guys on it 2-3 years ago. They've all matured. They've gotten stronger. They're playing well. So Concordia is able to score. They're able to score no matter who they play. Luers has not shown that consistently throughout this season, even though they've done it the last couple of weeks. They've done it enough. I really like Concordia's offense and being able to get ahead, and then the Concordia defense being able to tee off on Noah Wazinski, who predominantly played the most of the time at quarterback last week. So I think this is a relatively easy Concordia win.
And, it does a lot of it surrounds, as far as the offense goes, what they're doing at quarterback for Bishop Luers this season. I know Quinn Cook was the starter originally. It looks like Noah Wazinski has asserted himself in that role. But I'll tell you what, C.J. McCarter at running back, he's a junior, but he's 6 foot 225, and Heritage had a lot of trouble with him. But do you feel like Luers is gaining confidence, not just because they won games, but they beat West Noble in a blowout to start off the postseason. Then they go down to Heritage on the road. Heritage
that's a tough win.
Beat Jimtown last year in the playoffs. You know that's a tough place to play, especially in the postseason. And they get a victory. They grind out a victory, a close one, 18-13. Do you feel like they're starting to feel their oats, and knowing they only lost by 3 in the regular season to Concordia, they're licking their chops saying, you know what, they're probably not thinking we can win it.
Oh, everybody at Luers is talking about how this is a brand new season, and what's happened in the regular season really doesn't matter, and they're right to a degree. You're right. McCarter 84 yards against Heritage, and Wazinski 189 yards, so they can do it passing and running both. But throughout the season, they just haven't shown the consistency offensively. They've struggled in their offensive line and their blocking, and so I really just like Concordia, and they've got so many different weapons. And you want to talk confidence. Concordia, they're having their best season in years. If they win, this will be their 6th win in a row, and their first sectional championship since 2007. So they're every bit as confident. In fact, if anything, Concordia needs to guard against overlooking Luers, because everybody's going to tell them all week, you guys are going to smoke Luers. And being 17, 18, 16, they can't believe that. They have to view Luers as a serious threat this year. I mean, obviously they would think that if you took years past into consideration. But Concordia, if they don't overlook Luers, they should be okay.